Call to order the regular scheduled meeting of the Board of District 186 Board of Education. Mrs. Howard, call the roll, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
Mrs. Judy?
Here.
Mrs. Brazel?
Here.
Mr. Green is absent tonight. Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mrs. Evaldi? Here. Mr. Beavers?
Here. Pledge of allegiance led by Mr. Wilson.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4 is approval of agendas, additions or corrections.
Just on the schedule, or on the bills, we'll be pulling Mr. Brown out as a separate vote.
Is that correct? I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number 5 is approval of consent agenda consisting of District 186 regular scheduled board meeting minutes dated November 21st, 2023, Tri-County meeting minutes dated November 8th, 2023, Tri-County bills for December 2023, applications and reports.
Move to approve the consent agenda, or, yes, consent agenda.
And a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number 6 is the approval of the bills minus the one for Mr. Brown. Entertain a motion to approve that one.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Judy?
Yes.
Mrs. Brazel?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Evaldi?
Yes.
Mr. Beavers?
Yes. And then approve a line item for Mr. Brown as a MMS musical tech assistant.
Absolutely not.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Mrs. Evaldi?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Brazel?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Abstain?
Mrs. Judy?
Yes.
Mr. Beavers?
Yes. Item number 7 is communications. I'm sure we have some. I don't think I've ever-
So the first one's from Kim Cook. Dear Dr. Evers, Mr. Navarro, Mr. Ellermeyer, Board of Education, I thoroughly enjoyed my time coaching the MHS Red Devil volleyball team. It has been an experience I will always treasure. Unfortunately, I must resign my position as head coach. At this time, I would like to be able to follow my daughters more closely as they pursue their college softball careers. I would still be available to help our newly hired coaches as they transition into the position. Thank you for your support you've given to myself and our program over the years. Sincerely, Kim Cook.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second. Accurate.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, the next one is from Karen Jurek. I would like to take this opportunity to inform you of my decision to resign the position of JV volleyball coach at Murphysboro High School. It has been with great pride that I've been able to coach the sport I love at my alma mater and to help carry on the outstanding tradition of Red Devil volleyball. Thank you for the support and the encouragement the past 2 seasons. Karen Jurek.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
And the last one's from Christopher McLaughlin, custodian for the 6th grade middle school. He's announcing his resignation. My last actively employed day shall be February the 10th or when a suitable replacement is found, whichever would be first. After such time, I wish to be called for a sub on any area. Thank you. Have a great day, Christopher McLaughlin.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Do not see a fishbowl.
Nope.
Move on to number 9, Freedom of Information Act request. Had one from JMS Environmental Associates requesting summary of results of carbon dioxide temperature and relative humidity. And Catherine Casey from Science of Reading, Illinois, requesting names of the universal core curricula currently used to teach reading in kindergarten through 3rd grade, and the grade level these are used if there are multiple reading curricula, and the dates the reading curricula were purchased. Both requests were answered in a timely manner. Item number 10 is the recognition of the audience. The Board of Education welcomes the audience to make public or employee comments. The board has set aside time in the agenda specifically for this purpose. Pursuant to Board Policy 2.230, each speaker shall be limited to a 5-minute presentation. Please be aware that while this is the time for the public to express its opinions and/or concerns, the board may or may not comment regarding public presentations. If a matter of public comment warrants, where's my stuff at? Warrants board action, it will be added to the agenda of a future meeting. Okay, I'm lost now.
It's time for public concern. Yes, if there's any.
There we are. Are there any public concern? Are there any employee concerns? Thank you all for coming. Moving on to item 1 under old business is the adoption of the 2023 tax levy. Are there any additional questions or comments from Mrs. Bush? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the tax levy as presented.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Mrs. Uvalde?
Yes.
Mrs. Brazel?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Judy?
Yes.
Mr. Beavers?
Yes. Item number 2, approval of press policy updates number 113. The press policy updates have been on review since November meeting. The administration recommends the approval of press policy updates number 113. I have a motion to approve that.
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Troy, pass it. Item number 3 is approval of electrical supply quotes.
I apologize that you're getting these as a handout, but unfortunately, the rates that we get are only good for the day. So I got rates last week on the 13th, and they were only good on the 13th. So I had to get rates again today. So we have been, the company that we've worked with for the past several contracts has been AGE, which what they have done is bring us quotes from several different energy companies. So the first page are the quotes that they brought us: 12-month, 24, 36, and 48. Home Field Energy, Constellation, who is with the current provider, and Direct Energy. So the top part, what I ask for is an all-in price. What's it going to cost all in per kilowatt? Not counting what Ameren charges us for their lines and wires for delivery. Just the energy cost, however many years ago, 10, 12, 15, I don't remember, that there was deregulation, and so, we all used to deal with Ameren, just Ameren, that was our only option. So now we have some options. So we got these prices. The top, like I said, is the all-in. The middle section is, and they gave us this rates fixed energy only, because that is how IEC, which is the second page, that's the only price that they will lock in, is the fixed energy price. So it's like apples and oranges. We're never dealing with apples and apples. So they gave us this all-in price, but it's just an estimated price from IEC, and they only will go up to a 3-year contract. So I have prices. The one I have marked energy, that line is their energy price, which is compared to the middle section of the others, and then their bottom is their total estimated all-in. The IEC, it's a good program. It's a consortium of schools that go together and buy their energy together. The last couple contracts, their prices have been a little higher, which is why we have gone with Constellation, actually maybe Constellation in the last 2 contracts. So after kind of going through these, talking to Dr. Evers about it, one of the big sells for IEC is we were looking at the possibility that a year from now, there would be 150 schools that in Illinois that's contracts will be expiring. Some of them could renew before then, but right now it's 150 schools.
So the idea is a year from now, pulling, pulling all the business, we might see after a year a much lower rate. But it's hard to know that at this point. So Dr. Evers and I talked about it, went through these numbers. Feel like the home field energy all-in price of 6.876 cents per kilowatt. That's really our best all-in price for a 12-month period. So we'll look at it again in a year if the board is in agreement with that, and see what we can see, if what IAC's price looks like, what these other prices look like after a year. I will tell you this, we were paying for the last 4 years, I think I told you this last month, 4.04 cents per kilowatt for the last 4 years. And I knew those rates were gonna go away because people were renewing for more than double that. I just talked to a colleague in another local district today. They renewed in July of '22 for an all-in price of 11 cents. I was seeing a lot of 10 cents. And so there was some pressure for us to leave early, leave our current contract, our 4-cent contract, and go somewhere else, because we might have 11 cents next year. We kind of rolled the dice because that was such a good rate for us, and we're saving a lot of money, that it wouldn't be as much, and it isn't. So what we're seeing, the 6.8 in February, I think they threw 9 cents at me. So a savings. There have been some, the costs have come down quite a bit. So the recommendation at this point would be to sign a contract and agreement for a 12-month term with Home Field Energy, and then revisit the process next year.
Entertain a motion to approve home field energy for our electrical line.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Evaldi?
Yes.
Mrs. Judy?
Yes.
Mrs. Brazel?
Yes.
Mr. Beavers?
Yes. Moving on to new business, item number 1 is informational. It's 23-24 seniority list. They're sitting there at your table. A copy was sent to each building for posting. The list will be posted and approved at February 2024. Approval, Tri-County FY24 revised budget.
They just did their revisions to their grant, so Tri-Via grant, so just as their administrative agent, that's just we have to approve it's the Tri-County fiscal year 24 revised budget, amended budget, so.
Entertain a motion to approve the revised budget.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Mrs. Evaldi?
Yes.
Mrs. Judy?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Brazel?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Beavers?
Yes. We have a need to go into closed session.
Oh, I got it. Motion to go into closed session pursuant to Section 2 of the Open Meetings Act, 5 Illinois Compiled Statutes 122C, to review the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee to determine its validity, and 2, a student disciplinary case.
And a second.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Brazel?
Yes.
Mrs. Judy?
Yes.
Mrs. Evaldi?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Beavers?
Yes.